Now, how RFID works is that an RF signal emits from a reader. Now, readers come in many shapes and sizes, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But here you see the example on the right-hand side of a handheld mobile reader. When you press the trigger, a signal emits. Now, the basics of this is knowing that it's not a battery source on the tag, so the signal itself is what excites the tag and allows the tag ID to be able to come back to the reader, and then the software processes it accordingly to whatever function you're trying to perform. But now imagine that you can read up to, say, 20 feet or even more. In some cases, we see 30-foot read range tags. Some people say, how far can you read in terms of a tag type? And on some of the largest tags with a simple mobile reader, you can read up to 60, 70 feet, even using passive RFID technology. But the fact is that really the sweet spot for RFID hovers in range somewhere between 10 and 20 feet. And you can get lower or you can go higher depending upon some of the nuances of what you want to track. But keep in mind that, again, if you're standing in an environment like this, as you see in the warehouse image above, you might pull a trigger and within an instant, you can catch dozens, if not hundreds, of different items all at the same time. And that's a key distinction, because you may be rating the containers or boxes themselves, or you may be reading specifically the items inside those boxes. And you've got to think about what it is you're trying to capture and what process or function you're trying to accomplish at that moment in time. But the idea behind RF signal is that it casts a very broad, wide net based on where you're pointing this particular reader. It can read through boxes and containers like Pelican cases. And so, again, you can be capturing inventory when you cannot see the contents altogether. So areas of the manufacturing environment. It may start with the use of RFID in tracking raw materials. So what kind of raw materials? It could be something that's brought in bulk. You may want to track it as bulk items. You may want to track it as quantity items, which are non-serialized, by the way. Or you may want to track it as a serialized item, depending on what it is that you're receiving in and the significance of that item relative to the rest of your production capability. RFID can adapt to every one of those scenarios. Of course, the meat of this is the work in process. As you're starting to put together product assemblies, sending them through to various stages of quality control, where are those items moving at any given time? Having instant visibility to what's happening in that production and manufacturing floor. And then all the way through to finished goods. Once the item is packaged and being stored for shipment or outbound, how do you track and account for items using RFID into these areas? Let me give you some examples of this. So we recently worked with a healthcare manufacturer who came to us with this problem of the ability to track tools and equipment inside their manufacturing process. Now, all of these items and tooling had to come back on a scheduled basis in which to get calibrated and then assigned out to wherever they needed to go. RFID is a great capability to leverage inside these very fluid environments where tools can be moving at various stages throughout a manufacturing process, and controlling the management of how to get items detected immediately and back into calibration when necessary. We also worked recently with an electronics manufacturer who wanted visibility of jobs in the production process. What was happening is they needed to know where a certain job was being processed, and someone had to go down on behalf of the customer and go walk the entire manufacturing process and go through the where is it, where is it, where is it? And literally it was like trying to follow breadcrumbs throughout that manufacturing process. Very time consuming and labor intensive. Once RFID went in, they had full visibility without ever having to enter the manufacturing area as to where every job was being processed at every station along the path of that particular item. Now, the other side of that too is that it revealed something about the process that they didn't know before. So it allowed them to look and see where there were areas where certain jobs were getting set to the side and not moving at all. And they couldn't see that before. But now they could see things being stalled at certain parts of the manufacturing process for an extended period, which allowed them to really retool and reprocess the way that they were handling this WIP application that they had.